Hello. Hold on one second. Looked like my mic wasn't picking me up there for a moment. Hey Tyrion, anybody here? I'm getting started just a couple minutes late here. It looked like there were some, It's kind of weird because I was just looking at Streamlabs here, and before it said there were like 3 people waiting. Now it's only saying 1 viewer, but I see 2 people chatting, so I don't know what's going on with my Streamlabs, but... Oh, there we go. Now it just bumped up to 3 viewers. Okay. Looks like we are on track to go ahead and get this started. So let me go ahead and get that music turned down just a bit. Maybe? It is not respecting me turning down the volume. So let me try. There we go. That's better. Let's go ahead and hop into some games today. So I pulled about 6 replays from the replay channel for us to go over. And if we still have some time after that, maybe I'll play a game on Snail. We'll see what day has in store for us. But our game 1, gonna go ahead and full screen that. Going to go ahead and be Willy T, spawning as the purple Terran down in the bottom right of Moonglaive. Going up against Mcravey, spawning as the red Zerg here. So this map, it's kind of interesting because the 3-player Shakuris map, and actually in CPL this year they are using, down apparently, don't use that, because I have the zoomed a little bit so that way it's not as far out of a view, and down apparently will not quite scroll right. But CPL this year is using Ascension, which is a 3-player map, which I think is, I can't remember. I don't think Liquipedia said it's an update or like an attempt of an update at Moonglaive. I think it might have said Medusa. So I'm not sure exactly of the history between the maps there, but we do see that we have Willy T going with the 1-racks here. Brave Z's Overlord coming down here into the main, gonna find Willy T. Man, after watching replays and doing some casts at at fastest speed, double speed feels very, very fast at the moment for me. Willy T got the scout going around the base. We see the pool finishing up here. Oh, what? Oh, wait. Hold on 1 second. I know why the scroll is being funny. Just a second to fix this. It is because I turned on the Also, my shortcut keys for zoom don't seem to be working for some reason. I thought it was like plus and minus on my numpad, and it's not doing it. I don't know why. But I had the production turned on and then did the zoom, so it got pushed down a low. We got that fixed. Let's go ahead and get this positioned right, maybe. That'll do. That'll do. There we go. Now we can scroll with the keyboard and everything will be happy. So Willy T is going for the 1-racks fast expand, getting its second barracks now. The bunker though, placement for TVZ could maybe be a little bit better, because if Mcravey wanted to, could just flood in with the Zerglings, but Mcravey's not going to go for that, going ahead and getting its lair here. Looks like it's preparing to get a 3rd base as well. Scroll lock, you are saying. You sawed off your number pad. That doesn't sound healthy for the keyboard, but yeah, scroll lock's not doing anything. Turning it off and on with plus minus, not doing anything with the zoom, but that is okay. So we've got Willy T here going ahead and getting the stim packs. I believe that would be under research. Yep. And then getting stim. Has a decent Bio Force chilling here at the natural. The Mutalisks are now on the way for Mcravey, but there are no turrets on the field at the moment. The engineering bay is down. So we really need to start seeing those turrets get thrown down. And now we do have at least one coming in. Curious what this SCV is going. If maybe Willy is going to go ahead and try and take a third. But there are like no turrets in the main. Yeah, and then this is just not going to be... Not going to be good times here. Mcravey finding a nice little spot here to be able to tear apart that natural. There's also here tearing into the main mineral line. One turret does go up, but as we can see, this part down here to the south is still pretty exposed. The M&M Force trying to get in here, but the buildings are kind of clumped in the way of the Marine Force actually getting in there to engage with the Mutalisks. The Mutalisks are going to go ahead and dance around the base, take some shots off where they can. And it looks like that SCV that we were seeing kind of go around was not going for a third. Either that or got picked off by Mutalisks. It is a little bit tricky to say which it was. Yeah, Willy T just really needs a lot more turrets here. I like that there's at least one by the barracks here, but... If we watch that Mutalisk count, though, we're at 10 Mutalisks right now. Oof, taking a bit of a long path there, taking some damage from that missile turret, but some more shots firing off here on the army. Behind this, Mcravey is going ahead and taking a fourth, getting that gas as well. Regrouping the Mutalisks there, which we are now up to 16 Mutalisks. Throwing some Goliaths into the mix here. I'd rather see Valkyrie maybe, but I know Valkyrie are tricky to use in 1.16 due to the missile limits and everything, so not all of their shots can necessarily be effective depending on how many units are out and firing and how many bullets there are, but the army here is attempting, so maybe the Goliath switch or addition will work out, but I don't think they have the Charon boosters. Not yet. They're on the way, though. You really need those if you're going to be fighting up against a large Mutalisk pack here like Mcravey has. Now Willy T's going to try and move out here, but I feel like, yeah, this Mutalisk cloud can really just pick off what's here. And with the anti-air gone, the tanks just turn around home. The Terran army just not able to get out very far. 21 Mutalisks out, 20 Mutalisks out on the map right now. And now we're starting to see Zerglings getting ready to flood in. Willy T adding in some ghosts, but the ghosts really aren't going to be able to do much against Zerg here. Now we do have a third coming down with another factory at that third. Interesting choice for Willy T here. Mcravey will be able... You know what? Oh, okay, still not working. Because earlier I couldn't even right click. And now, that's weird. If I just right click and don't move, it's not going to pop up the menu, but it did there for just a moment. But we can see here that Mcravey does have a sizable force of Zerglings and Mutalisks here. They do have the faster attack as well as the speed. It looks like +1, maybe +2, or is that air carapace? I'm not sure of the exact. Yeah, okay. Ground carapace level 1 is about to finish. Air level 2 is about to finish as well. Looks like Willy T did manage to find a base that they can go ahead and pressure. This fourth here, gonna go ahead and take it out with the mix of Goliath and Bio. And then gonna go ahead and move over here to the third. Mcravey really needs to defend that, but instead Mcravey's gonna be diving here into the natural. That bunker got deleted so fast. And now here we can see working on this natural here with Willy T's army being forced to withdraw from the third by this, and the dropship getting picked off by the Scourge there. Using a lot of workers here. Willy T just down to 27 now. But now the force is engaging with the Mutalisk cloud. But Willy T having taken a lot of damage there, a lot of workers fell in this push, and now actually the army's just gone, so it looks like Mcravey is actually going to be taking this game. And yeah, I think with all of those workers lost, Willy T just does not have the money to really produce army. So with that, Mcravey is going to go ahead and take this game, I believe. And there, right clicks. So inconsistent today. And with that, Willy T's base will be cleaned. And we're going to go ahead and jump into our second game of today. Right, and so our second game sees Crazio spawning as the Red Terran over in the left of Tau Cross, and Bereaver spawning as the Orange Protoss up in the top right corner. Both of these AIs are really good ones. Bereaver, I guess you could call Bereaver like the cousin of Monster in a way. It was the first AI by the author, Monster, and I can't remember if it actually got a, I think I talked about it on the last cast too. Now I can't remember if it had an update sometime recently. I think it did. But here we see the gateway coming down for, actually, yeah, I was about to say actually 2 gateways, but no, that was a probe. That started up second. Crazio getting the racks, just checking the base real quick for any potential proxies while going out for the scout. And now that gas coming down for Crazio. The scout from Bereaver coming in with a peace offering of minerals, and the SCV's like, no, we've got our own minerals. You back away, please. Meanwhile, Crazio has found the location of Bereaver as well. Bereaver getting its third pylon here. And there's the cyber core. Cool, so everything just looking very normal so far this game. So early academy. Very early academy coming down here for Crazio. But we'll see, that's probably for, I'm imagining after this SCV we'll see a comsat. Probably just better safe than sorry type of play. And no. Oh, what are we researching out of here? Getting marine range. Interesting choice. That will keep Dragoons from being able to try and snipe the bunker, but that's literally all that upgrade will do for you, unless you're planning on some type of, like, fake double push here, which, honestly, Crazio might be doing here. What are we getting now? We're getting siege mode, and we're getting a second factory, and we have... Oh, so actually, we're doing, like, a fake double, it looks like. Unless... Nope. Okay, we're just expanding, but we just started our second or no, that's an engineering bay. Ah, I missed that. I thought that was going to be a factory with its placement. So no. Okay, this is just a... Looks like a one factory expand here. Reaver behind this has gone ahead and is taking the natural. Went up to 4 gates actually before doing so. But these goons aren't really going to be able to do much. And with that marine range, goons aren't going to be able to harass the bunker, but... Oh, that's actually really far forward tank there. If the Reaver wanted to, could dive in and take that tank out. But the Reaver's going to go ahead and respect it and stay back. Taking some shots, though, that it really doesn't want to be taking right now. And it's going to go ahead and just return home here, deciding, okay, I'm not going to be able to harass this. Still could have sniped this tank, I feel, but choosing not to. Are we getting... Still getting Marines, and we are upgrading attack +1 for the Marines, so... Interesting decisions here. I'm guessing we'll see some sort of mix of bio tank push happen here, or come here from Crazio. Here, Bereaver is going ahead and poking out again here. If the army was like all together, could probably threaten this front a little bit, but it's just kind of coming in this line instead of like any sort of formation. But Bereaver is going ahead and starting their third, which is a good choice with the Terran's natural having been established here. Crazio going ahead and throwing down some turrets here to just give some coverage in case there's any attempted shuttle play or Dark Templars coming in. Crazio still just operating on the one factory, which is actually causing it to float quite a few minerals and gas. It did go ahead and get a second barracks, though. And it's continuing to add Marines here. Bereaver looks like did get the tech for Reavers, is getting a Reaver as well, which will help shut down any sort of the, or, well, not any sort of, but the bioplay that's going to be mixed in there with the tanks from Crazio. But it also depends on, you know, how the fights play out a bit too here. Bereaver looks like it's kind of just bouncing between its third base and the Terran Natural with its army. We do have a small contingent of the Terran force here moving out. Tanks sieging and unsieging repeatedly. Arbiter tech is on the way for Bereaver, so we may see Arbiters soon. We do have the High Templar as well. And Storm is almost finished, so should be finished by the time there's any type of real engagement. Now here we have the Shuttle Reaver play here to counter these Marines, but there's a lot of Marine medic here, and the Reaver's not really getting dropped where it can be all that effective. Now we do have some Storms going down, which are going to thin out that Marine medic. And that would have been a really nice Reaver shot there, but unfortunately for Bereaver there, it dudded. And that shuttle's a bit far from the poor Reaver. Yeah, I don't think Bereaver can quite... Its army is a bit scattered here. There is something... Oh, a Vulture here. Perhaps it's drawing some of the attention of Bereaver, but Bereaver actually looks to have broken into this third here. And is going to push this back. With all of the splash damage out, though, Crazio really needs to transition away from the Marines and medics and into just full mech, I think, because... Yeah, like like, Reaver just deleted how many units there? Jeez. And then the High Templar have been doing a really good job, too, with their Storms taking out that medic and Marine. This Reaver, though, is left pretty alone, so that will get taken care of. The shuttle coming up now, but there's no Reaver there, so I don't know if it has a Reaver in it or what exactly the shuttles are doing there, but they need to just kind of back off. Yeah, there was a Reaver in that shuttle. And kind of getting abandoned again here. That's a lot of money being thrown away there. Cute little stasis here. And a Dragoon being positioned to take care of that. I think the Dragoon would actually lose there to those three all by itself. Yeah, and it does. So Crazio managing to keep this third alive here. He's actually going to try and move across the bridge here. Bereaver is taking this lower portion here. There's a Vulture that could take these now it's going to dive. Okay, as the transfer god here, it decided to dive with that, and there's a few Zealots. They're going to try to clean that up at least, and they do manage to do so. It's natural being brought online by Bereaver, so Bereaver doing what they need to do, just sort of slowing down. Oh, very nice EMP got, I think, all of those High Templar there. This Terran army starting to look more and more formidable, but still only at like 130 supply out of 142. While Protoss is pretty much maxed out at this point, so there's a lot of Reavers on the field though for Bereaver. I'd kind of like to see a transition to more High Templar. But the nice thing about Reavers is that you cannot EMP the Scarabs away. Now we do have an engagement here. A lot of the Marine medic falling. Tank numbers thinning out a little bit, but the Reavers are not really going to be able to do much against the sieged tanks there. They're more going to clean up the Marines and medics, but the army for Bereaver is looking a bit thin here. I'm not exactly sure where it is. We're at 150 supply. Half of it is workers. So that might be an issue here for Bereaver, is perhaps a little bit of an overproduction of workers and not quite having the army it needs, but there's like really nothing to like help these tanks out. So if Bereaver can get units on top of the tanks, they should be able to clean this up. Now there's another there's a couple of science vessels here dancing, so a little bit of a game of, you know, will the EMP go off? Will it hit the Arbiter? Getting a few Reaver shots, but yeah, like the tanks are pretty much able to clean up those Reavers relatively quickly. And as Bereaver allows themselves to get kind of pushed into this natural, they're not really going to be able to move out to engage as cleanly against this Terran army. And the Storms, there got some kills as the Marines had walked into it, but the Storms being maybe a bit more too conservative, like just on their edge of the Terran army, so that only a couple of units are getting hit with it. Yeah, the reinforcements just keep streaming in here from Crazio, adding the SCVs, tossing down some turrets. It's looking more and more like Crazio is taking full control of this game. Stasis on the defense matrix science vessel there. That was an attempt storm there on the tanks. Did a little bit of damage, but yeah, it's Bereaver's just not able to really get an army built up to stand up to this Terran army. Oh, that, oh man, there was a Scarab there that looked like it would have been really beautiful had it gone off, but it ended up thudding. But this army is starting to look a little bit smaller for Crazio. It's still pretty potent, but Bereaver managing to hang in here with the number of bases that it has, but it's like spending all of its gas right now. Yeah, like almost breaking out. There's just 2 tanks here, but just doesn't really have units to finish pushing this back. And now we've got more reinforcements coming in for Crazio here. It seems like Crazio can't quite... Nice stasis there on the science vessels. It's like Crazio can't quite push into this natural, but Bereaver also can't quite break out of it. But now there's no tanks. As I'm saying that, like Bereaver manages to clean up the tanks that were here, and is now starting to push this back a bit. Here comes some tank reinforcements from Crazio. And just check it real quick. Let's see. They are on 4 bases. They should have 3 gases. How many? They've got 2... 3... They've got 4 machine shops. But really, like, you want about, like, 1 gas... or 1 machine shop per gas, so... There should be like, yeah, like 3 tanks or so coming out each macro cycle here for Crazio. But needs to keep those tanks alive. Another nice storm going down there for Bereaver. Bereaver pushing it back to almost that bridge again. But it looks like Bereaver maybe wants to try and take this base, or... That could have been like a supply... Oh no, there's a couple of Reavers here getting stuck on the terrain. For Bereaver, that is unfortunate, but it's even with that happening, I think that's like 8 supply worth of units there, just kind of getting stuck. But Bereaver seems to have this fight pretty under control, and now finding this 4th base here for Crazio is going to redirect its army in that direction. This will potentially give Crazio a chance to get back onto this natural choke, but we'll see what Crazio decides to do, because Crazio kind of needs to keep this base alive too. As it's also very, very low on minerals. The natural's just about mined out. The main is mined out. And then it's just got this base and then that mineral only, which it's now losing the mineral only. So Crazio is now down to just one mining base. And was trying to do some harass, it looks like, with a vulture there, but there's no real opening for it to do so. It's interesting, the circle selection there is like orange or under the stasis. Yeah, now Bereaver forcing this third base here to lift. Cleaned up the fourth for mineral only, and it looks like Bereaver will take the win in the end on this. Very well played by Bereaver here. Burned down a lot of gateways, a lot of production happening. Now throwing down a fleet beacon to transition into carriers if it needed to. A couple of EMPs firing off for Crazio, but at this point, just no economy, can't build back, so it's going to go ahead and use this one. So we will speed this up. A very great game. A lot of back and forth there from the two. I was impressed that Bereaver was able to sort of get things swinging back in its favor. And I wonder, you know, it's crazy. It was only operating on like 4 factories, I think, for a chunk of that. Maybe 5. So I wonder if Crazio just didn't have enough factories, but I mean, it was pretty much spending its income as well as it could. So very well played game there by Bereaver. We'll go ahead and get the third game loaded up here. All right, and this third game is another Crazio game. We have Crazio spawning as the blue Terran down here in the bottom right of Circuit Breakers. And we have Purple Wave spawning as the red Protoss up in the top left. So we've got another TVP or PVT, depending on the perspective that you want to look at. So far, everything looking pretty standard from these two. The Crazio was looking to do like the anti-zealot placement here. Not quite. It's like one, I think, build tile to the left too far. But I don't think early zealot aggression has really been too much of a problem for Terran bots, so it's probably just, yeah, typical placement. Not really going for that anti-zealot placement. But we have an academy right away, even before the factory this time, for Crazio. So I suspect we're going to see some sort of shenanigans here. Or maybe not necessarily like a, mech opening from Crazio. And now we do have the factory coming down after this academy, so... And as that is range being researched here. And we do have an early zealot coming in. Gonna go ahead and be able to repel that. We have a second zealot coming in. Let's see how it does versus these 3 marines. Gonna go ahead and back up. Doing some dance and taking some shots. It doesn't really need to, but... Machine shop coming down now for Crazio. Crazio does have this bunker here, but I don't think there's actually anything in it. This zealot was very, very cautious about if there was anything in that bunker or not. Meanwhile, Purple Wave behind this is going ahead, taking their expansion, getting a third gateway here, getting their Citadel of Adun already. And throwing down their Stargate now. Stargate this early, I've got to think, is this going to be like... barriers? But then why would you get the Citadel? Natural coming online for Crazio here. Let's have siege mode now, so we'll be able to siege up with these tanks. Transfer of the workers to the second, and reasonably Purple Wave is going to go ahead and I think take their third with this probe. Just kind of keep an eye on it a little bit here. Looks like it's being a very, very cautious probe, and there goes the third. Okay. We do have Dark Templar on the field, but Crazio, with the scan, going to be able to clean up those Dark Templar, plus does have turrets here. Place that should be able to... man, that tank just barely living. If Purple Wave had committed a little bit, could have cleaned up one of those tanks. Trading a tank for like maybe just a couple of Dragoons may have been worth it, but Purple Wave not really looking to be super aggressive. Just going to go ahead and form a nice arc there, actually, before collapsing it and trying to move in a bit here. And then Willy actually does pick off the tank that time, so that was a very forwardly placed tank by Crazio, which does get picked off this bottom left. There is a Vulture looking to harass it, which is kind of stopping some probes from transferring, but it got held up by this pylon here, and actually that Dragoon choosing to not engage and instead go over to this armies. This bottom left and the probes there could be in trouble. Meanwhile, looks like Purple Wave thinking about pushing in here, does have a pylon there to stop that mineral only from being taken. Now does have Arbiters out on the field. Looks like a covert ops actually coming online for Crazio, so we might see some ghosts in lockdown here. Crazio is again, it looks like, going for this sort of bio-mechanical mix here. And this Vulture, if I could see how many kills this Vulture has, I would be very happy. I think that's a cannon there that it's trying to sort of focus on. So Archon maybe thinking about coming down here. But still just being super cautious, not actually going for it, and instead going again like that Dragoon. Join the army here, and then losing an Arbiter there. Flying into the turret, kind of. See, is that I think that Vulture got cleaned up probably by the cannon here, finally. Purple Wave doing a nice job of keeping an eye on these other bases here, throwing pylons up at some, having a Dragoon patrol some of them. This top right and this natural here not really being scouted, but, or actually, there's a Zealot going ahead and scouting them, so by Purple Wave here. And now my arrow keys are stuck on this thing, so, and now they're not, okay. Interesting. Purple Wave kind of trying to dive in here, but really these two bridges are not going to be able to push across. Got a decent stasis off there, but I feel like Purple Wave would just be better to sit outside of these bridges. Or they just pounce onto the Terran army as they try to push across. It's also an interesting choice going for the Archons instead of just keeping them as Templar for Storm. And actually, a Storm is not researched as far as I can tell. So yeah, just getting the Templar to make Archons. Which is also interesting against the Terran army because the Archons, the shield's going to take full damage from the tank shots. And Purple Wave just taking a lot of tank shots here. Purple Wave is doing a good job, though, of taking their map. They have a lot of gateways here, so they can very quickly spend the money that they are banking up. Purple Wave looks like maybe trying to take some sort of a base with a dropship, but having that get shut down very quickly. And actually, it's kind of an interesting Protoss army composition here. Barely any Dragoons. Actually, if we take a look, there's just 8 of them. And a lot of Zealots. And then the Archons. It's like Purple Wave kind of hunting down this SCV, but that lets the Terran army get on the other side of the bridges, which while crossing is when you were going to want to engage. So now Purple Wave gonna have to try and slow this army down. And the Archons, they're not really hitting the bio and just get wrecked. The production queue for Purple Wave kind of like breaking the display here a little bit with how much it was producing after that because of all those gateways. But yeah, I feel like that engagement could have gone a lot better for Purple Wave if the Archons had focused on the bio in order to utilize their splash. But yeah, that's one of the potential issues of using these Archons is if they get EMP'd, you know, that shield is gone, and I think they only have like 10 life. And now pouncing on the army a little bit here, and with his Archons focusing on the bio, was able to clean a small chunk of it up. But I think there just might be a little bit too much here for Crazio, and Purple Wave's not quite committing like it needs to this fight. We have some army here picking off the reinforcements that come from that top left base. And an EMP going off, and yeah, that Archon very quickly being dropped. Purple Wave, though, able to stop this advance from Crazio. Crazio, how many factories do we have for Crazio? It looks like there's 3. 1, 2. Very low factory count. Surprisingly, from Crazio here. What are the upgrades looking like? Really going with this bio tank mix. But actually, 3-2 now for the bio. 2 armors just about finishing, and only now getting the +1 vehicle weapon upgrade. And actually, do we have plating? No, we don't have vehicle plating, so interesting upgrade path, perhaps causing this attack to sort of fizzle out here with only the 3 factories. We did get a physics lab. I think there was, yeah, there was a covert ops earlier too, but it doesn't seem like Crazio is really producing any ghosts or battle cruisers, and really I don't think can afford to do the battle cruiser. But that push did allow Crazio to go ahead and take this mid-right base and this natural here, and it's cleaning up this top right that was looking like Purple Wave was wanting at one point. So that push did accomplish some stuff for Crazio, but now this army coming in here, marching into this mid-right, but for some reason the army just very hesitant to engage the ground army even. Purple Wave should be able to clean this up, but the army being a little bit perhaps indecisive there. And now actually coming out fully to engage with like this one vulture here instead of cleaning up this base. Actually allowed some SCVs to escape, but they're still kind of hanging around, and some of them are getting picked off there. Nice stasis there from Purple Wave, and now Purple Wave getting into this like sort of natural spillover area. There's a lot of turrets placed here in interesting places for Crazio. Yeah, I think at this point this is looking a lot like Purple Wave's game. There is some harassment going on up here, unless Crazio can hold on if so this third is essentially not mining. This natural is still mining, but is being harassed by a Dragoon here. But now at this point, Crazio under 100 supply. Like, unless something drastically changes here for Crazio, I think they're going to be in some trouble. Yeah, with this natural base here getting cleaned up. Yeah, CV's being deleted by the Archons, trying to keep that bunker alive, but not quite able to. Purple Wave will be able to reclaim this top right of the map, and now there's just this middle right base, which really isn't being defended by anything, but the army sort of being pulled in here. Radiate on the Vulture, I like that. Try and sort of deal with the Zealots, but not quite able to do it. And now these Zealots marching into the natural here, while the Archons and Dragoons try to clean up this base. And actually that stasis kind of hurting Protoss army here, not having a little bit of trouble getting in there to clear everything out, but looks like they will be able to do so in the end. This high ground tank putting in some work against the Zealot army there, but really there's just not enough here. Some picking off of the observers, kind of cute, but there's just not going to be enough to, I think, keep Crazio alive in this game. Purple Wave, though, pulling back a little bit, and technically this mid-right base here still has not fallen. Another stasis on all the workers here. Well, we see this base finally fall, and we do. So there goes the command center. Yeah, Crazio just has the one mineral only here mining. So it's interesting, we saw in the last game, like, Crazio ended up with, like, I think, if I'm remembering right, it was spending all of its gas pretty much, but in this game it ended up with like a bit of a glut of gas. And Purple Wave should be able to come down here into these bases. And yeah, Crazio kind of ran into an issue too, where it's like, as the Terran, you get that one push going, and if that push fizzles out and you lose all of your tanks, it's so hard to get any sort of aggression going again and just keep pushing forward in the game. Yeah, with the workers here stasis, we'll go ahead and speed things up a bit. It's looking like this cleanup's going to take a little bit. With the Protoss army dancing around. Got it, Zealot. You can do it. You got... Okay. I'm laughing at the Zealot running away, and then this observer just came in and just did circles. And it also looked silly at 8 times speed. But with that, Purple Wave will win the third game that we've watched today. And now we'll go ahead and get the fourth game loaded up. Here it will be actually, I think the rest of these games are human versus AI. So we have Stardust here playing against a player going by Snail here. So Stardust spawning as the teal Protoss up at the top left, a fighting spirit. Snail spawning as the yellow Zerg here in the top right. Going ahead, getting that pylon, and looks like it's going to go ahead and do a pylon scout, and that in-base pylon looks like we're not looking for any sort of fast expand here against the Zerg player. A gateway coming down here for Stardust as well. Is it just me, or is that hatchery a bit off? Maybe not. No, that hatchery's probably placed right. It just feels for some reason like that hatchery's lower than it could be. Or should be, rather, I mean. Scouting probe being picked off by the two Zerglings there. Very nicely done by the Snail player. So we've got 2 gates, and now we're going ahead and getting a core. The natural 4 Snail online. Looks like they're going ahead and planting their 3rd hatchery here. And now we've got Stardust here moving out across the map with its initial force. Not expanding behind the force moving out either, so... Right, maybe doing so now with this probe. There's a little bit of engagement here happening at the natural, but should be enough Sunkens to keep the Zerg players safe. Throwing down a pylon as well at the natural. And we've got, that should be Goon range spinning up there. Looks like Hydra play will be coming from Snail, as they are going ahead and getting that Hydra speed, but we don't have any Hydras under production yet. The Zerg player is still interested in droning up, trying to snipe some of those Dragoons there while it can. This first Sunken might go down, but there really isn't enough of an army here for Stardust. Stardust had to sort of re-divert its resources a little bit in getting this natural set up. But the Dragoon production has essentially resumed. A forge coming down. Oh, nice surround there, catching those Dragoons by the Snail player there. Very nice to see that. Going ahead and replacing the broken Sunken colony. Now just down to 1 Sunken colony. The Zerg player's really playing it close here. All of the Sunkens have fallen now. There's just the one, but a new fresh batch of Zerglings going to be able to clean this up. Very nice catching of the Dragoons by Snail here. Actually pushing this very far back, getting a lot of the Dragoons there. Really pushed that back. But didn't quite get more Sunkens up in time. Now we have another batch of Dragoons getting here. And that needs to be... I think that died as it was morphing instead of being canceled and then dying. Let's get 1 Sunken up. Stardust really trying to push into this natural here hard. Throwing down another cannon. Does have a decent gateway count. I think that's 6. Looks like throwing down its 7th. Getting the observatory as well. And now we have the start of the Hydra production here, catching again some of the Protoss army against this wall here of the bridge. Now we have the Protoss army, or sorry, the Zerg army trying to push the Protoss army back, but there's a large number of Dragoons here, and not quite a large number of Hydralisks yet. So Snail's looking to wait a little bit longer. This 3rd here, completely undefended. Stardust, about to discover it. I think should see that creep. Oh, and very nice surround again with the Zerglings by Snail. The Snail player has been very, very good at that. It looks like Stardust has found this undefended 3rd here and is directing some units to try and clear it. Dragons actually could get up there and get some drone kills, but leaving time for that Sunken to finish. As more units come up here, now that's going to be a little bit harder to push up that, but getting a nice arc forming there. Oh, this army here is a bit of a ball. This looks like we might have an engagement here. but neither player really wanting to engage just yet. And the Dragoons do take out that Sunken. Almost take this one out. Must be at like 2 hit points. Just barely manages to live. Meanwhile, Stardust now trying to engage here in the natural again, but being forced back. Take a look at the upgrades here real quick. The Zergling's +1 attack almost done. Hydralisk +1 attack is done. Carapace is done. What do we have in terms of research? Lurker aspect is done, so those may be in play sometime in the near future. And actually now Stardust kind of pushing in here, but there's this large force over to the right that's going to cause problems. And yeah, sort of perhaps lulled Stardust into thinking that it had a better engagement there than it really did. So nice play by Snail, but behind this, Stardust has expanded to this middle left base. Looks like it's planning on expanding again, so Stardust making sure that it can keep its macro going here. Zerg player trying to engage on this bridge. Gets a nice surround. The units, the Dragoons not firing because they're trying to run away, and they all fall. So beautiful play there by Snail, and now it's sort of advancing forward, seeing what's out there still for Snail, moving forward with the full army. Gonna push this back all the way to the natural bridge, but not quite wanting to engage further. Meanwhile, the Zerg army here is just continuing to grow, currently at just 68 supply. It looks like Stardust is going to try and march in again here, but Stardust isn't letting itself grow a large army. It keeps kind of like choosing these small engagements and throwing units away, not able to get a large force at any one time, really. Now Stardust has established this bottom left. Snail still just on the 3, and actually only 3 drones here. The gas is not being mined, so it doesn't really seem to be a problem for Snail, though. At 1.5k and 1.4k bank. Looks like we are teching up to Hive. We've got a bit of an engagement here, and again, nice flanking maneuvers there by Snail, forcing Stardust to retreat. Stardust supply is slowly growing here as it's losing a few less units each engagement, but if Stardust has just kind of waited, I feel like they could have had a 200 army already, and then just sort of rolled over the Zerg, but really trying to gateway man the Zerg army here. Some of the Dragoons just sort of dancing in place, taking shots, but there are enough shots being fired now, and there is enough of the army, Protoss army, if they engaged. I feel like they could take this a lot easier than they are. Zerg supply is so low right now, just 48.5 supply to 140 some for Stardust. Now granted, Stardust also has 73 of that in workers. Yeah, here comes Stardust busting into the natural here. Snail trying to do a flank, but really I think there's just too many Dragoons here. Stardust just continues to engage, and yeah, with that, Snail's going to tap out and give the game to Stardust. So very nicely played. A lot of the flanking and the surrounds there really hurting Stardust a lot when it's trying to retreat. But then Stardust just not giving itself time to really build up an army. And then when it finally did hit that sort of like critical mass, it was able to roll over the Zerg army there. So we'll get game 5 loaded up here. Game 5 will see us, this is actually a ranked game. I'm not sure the AI offhand that this is, but we've got Splus spawning as the purple Zerg down in the bottom left of Circuit Breakers, and Anonymous AI spawning as the red Terran up in the top right. Let me see if there is mention of who it is for this game as the... let's see, this would be... I think this is Crazio. If I've got which replay this was off of the channel correct. You know, I don't think I've seen Crazio's, well, yeah, so we've seen 2 TVPs with Crazio. I don't think I've seen Crazio's TVZ in a while, so... should be fun to watch. Here we've got the bunker going down at the natural. Or sorry, not at the natural, but at the ramp into the main. Crazio does like to go mech against Zerg. Spawning pool coming down for Splus. Yeah, first Zergling's popping out, almost catching the SCV here, but the SCV is going to go ahead and return home. For the AI, Lair coming out now for Zerg. Looks like they're going to be going for some 2 hatchery play. And actually one Zergling chasing both of those SCVs home. To the safety of that bunker and those Marines. Engineering bay coming down for Crazio, along with a supply depot. Getting that ComSat, going to be able to scan. Don't see a scan coming down to check the tech. Crazio kind of assuming here that it is. So that is a very forward placed turret, so perhaps to try and cover for lurkers, as well as the potential for Mutalisks, but Crazio just now going ahead and getting its expansion, so taking it a little bit slow to get that expansion. Zergling poking in there, quickly being erased by the Marines. Like another Zergling coming up to try and see what's going on here. Nice forward turret there by Crazio. Should protect from lurkers. Maybe a little bit too far forward, but as it could like kind of get sniped by lurkers outside the range of the bunker. But we do have Mutalisks anyway, so it won't be that big of a deal in the end as the Mutalisks make their way across the map here. Now making sure those Mutalisks are gathered, going to try and harass this natural, but lost a Mutalisk, but there was a attempt at harass. They're going to go ahead and see if there's anywhere to poke in the main. Turrets are pretty nicely placed. The SCV's not quite able to keep that turret alive, though. The Zerg player going to go ahead and back off here, look for another avenue to try and poke in, maybe see if it could do something against this natural here. I think that natural is pretty well guarded, and the army is tending to stay over there. Turret being rebuilt, having been rebuilt in the main. So we are getting an army, and actually, tanks. It looks like we'll be seeing a bio tank mix here from, or sorry, yeah, bio tank mix from Crazio. Crazio still pretty decent worker count at 35. Our player here trying to catch some stray units wherever they can. Actually, instead of tanks coming out, we've got Goliaths, which will do good against the Mutalisks here, but now we do have lurkers on the way for our plus player here. Or S plus it might supposed to be. We've got some more harassment with the good health mutas. The bad health muta was sitting out there for a little bit, but now we have the lurkers getting ready to get in place. There is a tank out for Crazio. The lurkers slowly moving in here. Crazio doesn't quite want to engage, but keeps leaving units out in range. Just now getting the army pulled back a little bit here. Zerg, meanwhile, is proceeding to go ahead and take this bottom right. Does have Nidus canals, so can quickly reinforce that if they need to. And it radiates starting to come out for Crazio. We have a flock of Scourge here that could be looking to try and snipe this science vessel. Actually diving in with the Mutalisks, losing a lot. Didn't catch the science vessel. There are a few vaults out here now for Crazio. Now actually Crazio getting a little bit of breathing room here. Just the one lurker. Actually two now. And Defilers are out, but not quite in time. Throwing down the Dark Swarm there. Nice Irradiate from Crazio, catching that Defiler there. But that Dark Swarm's about to run out, so yeah, the Zerg player's being... I say it's about to run out, and it's still not gone. And Dark Swarm really lasts a long time. Crazio trying to push across this bridge here. Could take the mineral only. It really has a lot of resources banked at the moment. Zerg player trying to do something with those Dark Swarms, but not quite getting good ones off. This Lurker here, though, causing some problems. Still under Dark Swarms, so now it runs out, and the tanks are able to clean it up. Crazio now moving across, actually taking this mid-right. Bring down a lot of turrets with the command center. Your player trying to take this bottom mid base here as well. Has taken the natural over on the right, but Crazio with a strong force here moving across the map. I don't see a Defiler in sight, so these irradiates on the lurkers that were out of range. Very nice there by Crazio. And I'm thinking that Crazio is going to be able to sort of push across these little bridges here and just set up shop. Defilers are on the way, but they're not out just yet for the Zerg. A couple of them now popping and quickly trying to consume what they can to throw down some swarms. Does manage to get down a good swarm, gets the lurkers under it. We're gonna need to consume a couple more Zerglings, I think, to get a little bit more energy here. There is a plague that goes down, caught the vessels, very nice, but yeah, there was no replacement swarm to keep that position. So with that, Crazio's gonna move up a little bit. A swarm on top of the army. The lurkers get under the swarm. It's going to do some damage, but I don't think it'll be enough to really push this back, as now the Terran army is out of range of those lurkers. This time did get the second swarm down there to make sure that that position is held for a little bit longer, but getting a nice chain there so that way the lurkers can move up while remaining under a swarm. Very good play by S+ here. Trying to get this bottom mid established, but we've got some vultures that are just kind of cleaning house with those Zerglings with that micro. But these lurkers in the swarm is really keeping this down. You need to throw another swarm down here, keep this position. They do get it off. Crazio now taking this top portion of the map, takes that top mid. Going ahead and taking the mineral only on the left side of the map, so Crazio is looking pretty strong, but couldn't quite bust into this natural. And very good swarm hopping here by our human player. But now, again, no more swarms. I think all the Defilers got picked off, and there were none to replace. And with that, the Snail player here, S+, going to go ahead and give the game to Crazio. And with that, we're going to hop right into our Game 6, which will be our last game of the day. We've got another human versus AI, this time an unranked game. We've got Crazio spawning as the orange Terran down in the bottom left, going up against S Dream Coffee, spawning as the blue Zerg up in the top left. And it looks like we're going to get a bit of cheese here today from Crazio. Going ahead and throwing down barracks in the middle of the map. Very early barracks. I think that was like, yeah, that was on like 5 supply there. It's not even like an 8 BBS. Is like a 5 BBS maybe, or maybe just throwing down the 1 barracks. We'll see what Crazio decides to go for here. The barracks does finish, and yeah, it looks like it will just be the 1 barracks being made. So not a full commitment to the cheese, but just a little bit of cheese being thrown at S-Dream Coffee here. You have 3 Marines coming up. It's going to catch this natural off guard, but I'm not sure if S-Dream Coffee saw what might be coming, but they definitely pulled back and are trying to get these Sunkens up in time. Just barely manages to hold that off. And instead of throwing down their second hatchery here up in the top of the base. Gonna go ahead and pop a few more Zerglings. Should be able to clean this up. You know what? I think the Overlord Scout might have seen that there was no barracks in the main. And that might have tipped S-Dream Coffee off. The fact that there had to be a barracks somewhere on the map. And now these Zerglings should be able to clean up these Marines. And yep, they are there. Pushing that back. This barracks still in the middle. Crazio still committing to sending units here. And now we do see the Zerglings pushing this back, not quite finding the proxy barracks, perhaps looking for it right now. There we go, the player does find the barracks here. Focus firing down the barracks, but there is a factory out and a vulture on the way. 1 vulture should be able to protect Crazio with the micro that the AIs are capable of, but the player recognizing, oh, there's just the 1 vulture. I'm going to try and run into the main, but now there is a 2nd vulture in the main. Let's see what damage can be done with these Zerglings here. Crazio's worker count got a couple. 3, 4. About 4 workers, so not a bad exchange there. Meanwhile, the natural is up, but will the Sunkens finish in time? The creep colony's just getting thrown down. And yeah, it looks like they're not quite done, but these Zerglings can sort of force this to dance here. And yeah, that gives enough time for those Sunkens to finish up here. Looks like Crazio coming up with the tanks. Doesn't have siege mode yet, though, so not going to be able to really lay siege to this position just yet. But if it gets siege mode, the Zerg was going to be in trouble. But now, decent Zerg force coming out here for our S-Dream Dream Coffee player here, getting more and more Hydras. Not droning as hard as we saw in the last game from S+. And you know, I think actually, now that I think about it, so these S's at the start of the name, they're probably not meant to be there. This player probably just wants to be called Dream Coffee. And the reason this S is there is because in the Snail client, when you're trying to clear the text box to type in your player name, you can't delete that S unless you type something else first. So I think that's what happened there. But now we do have siege mode here for Crazio. I don't think we have lurker aspect. So yeah, this looks like the Crazio is kind of trying to close the game out here, but the Hydra's getting on top of the tanks, but just not quite able to do it. That SCV repair coming in clutch. Now the natural hatchery is under siege by those tanks. And while back home, Crazio's still just on the 1 base, not even expanding. Saying, you know what, I'm going back to the 98, 2000s era, early 2000s era of StarCraft here, where I just 1 base play you. And with that, the natural falling, Dream Coffee here is going to give the game to Crazio. Very nicely played. The siege mode coming in just in time. And actually, that early marine aggression really did, I think, throw off Dream Coffee's game. They're having to throw that second hatchery up in the main instead of at the natural like they wanted to. So very nice game there. And with that, that will be the conclusion of our cast. And that did not switch to the right scene. There we go. I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. It's been a lot of fun. We had 6 great games here, 3 AI versus AI, 3 human versus AI games. So I do encourage you to check out the Snail client if you're interested in playing any of these AIs. The link is in the description below, along with a link to the SSCAIT Twitch page where you can watch the AIs playing live as long as the stream is up and operational. And you can also check out different stats about them as well. And I think in the description there's a link to the Basil ladder as well, which does not have a stream for its live games, but it is pretty much where the bots' rankings are usually considered to be the most accurate in terms of ELO against each other. So again, thank you everybody for tuning in. And until next time, take care everybody.